4, 3, 2, 1.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point you realize you married into crazy. And that's what our show is all about. If your marriage or relationship is compassionate, real, accountable, zealous and yielding, or just plain crazy, Snooks and Lovey offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as they unpack this thing called marriage. Sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
Welcome back to another episode of the Married Into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
And I'm Lovey. And we want to welcome everybody back. You have a lot of choices. You can be doing a lot of different things, but you've chosen to spend some time with us. And for those of you that are new, this is a podcast about marriage, all things marriage. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know our story, we've been married for 28 plus years. And we've been through some stuff. And yes, she does talk occasionally. So what we did was we got married after being on a blind date. And after, you're not going to say anything?
Finish the story so I could correct you.
See how this goes? So we were forced into meeting each other. Got stabbed after we got engaged. We got engaged after 4 months after we met each other. Mm-hmm. Her ex-boyfriend broke into her home, or forced his way into her home, and got into an argument with her, attacked her. I saved her, but ended up getting stabbed through my heart. Mm-hmm. This is before I said I do. And so a lot of things happened. So when we say that we married into crazy, yeah, we did marry into crazy, but crazy does stand for an acronym.
Crazy is an acronym, and it stands for compassionate, real, accountable, zealous, and yielding. So just correct Lovey. He likes to say it was a date. It was not a date. Like he said, it was a blind setup. I worked with a very good friend of his mother. She, for 6 months or so, tried to convince me to meet him. And I guess they were doing the same thing on the other side. And I was like, eh. He was like, eh. And we met at the Christmas party that I didn't know he was going to be at until an hour before. So. Yeah.
She thought I was a nerd, and
I did.
Never got game. So she married me. And then 4 years later, she asked for a divorce.
I told him I wanted a divorce. Why do we say ask for a divorce? Like, I didn't come to you and say, can you divorce me or can I divorce you? Why do people say that? Ask for a divorce.
She demanded it.
Anyway, I just said I did say I wanted a divorce. But lo and behold, obviously we did not get a divorce. We stayed married, and we were able to work out the things that needed to be fixed, basically.
But it came with a lot of baggage, a lot of work, a lot of tears, a lot of arguing, a lot of counseling, a lot of coaching. And the bottom line is we decided that we wanted to become that couple that we needed when we were going through those challenging times. Mm-hmm. And over the course of time, we not only did we battle back and we became the best of friends and have what we consider to be an amazing marriage, but we also ended up gaining some certifications along the way. Extreme execution coaching with Dr. Eric Thomas, as well as a couple of some training with the Gottman Institute, which is the foremost authority in the world when it comes to relationships. We're level 1, level 2, Gottman couples therapy trained. So with all that said, we bring people onto this podcast, different couples from a variety of different backgrounds, as well as subject matter experts, to have conversations about all things marriage. And then every now and then we sit down and we talk about different topics, different things that we think are interesting or that are trending, or things that people have written in about that are going through things, and asked if we could actually discuss it on the show.
Yeah. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
She really sounds like she wants to be here, huh?
No, I'm just trying to think it through.
No, and so here's what you can do. Go over to marriedintocrazy.com, and you can see all the different ways that we pour into marriages like yours, like ours, and like everyone else's that's out there. So there's a variety of different things. You can also download the Married Into Crazy app at the Apple App Store or at Google Play. So if you don't want the one-on-one coaching, or what we call couple-to-couple coaching, there's a variety of ways that you can actually gain access to a lot of the things that we provide. And the easiest way is going to be through the Married Into Crazy app. There's a variety of different levels. Check it out and let us know your thoughts. But I wanted to bring up a specific topic for today.
So before we bring up the specific topic that he wants to bring up for today, there was a very lovely couple who got married last week, and we want to say congratulations to the newest members of the MIC Married organization company.
No,
who are
the
we?
graduating class of 2025.
2025.
There are two couples that we've worked with premarital, and they've graduated. And most recently, the O'Neills. Congratulations on your nuptials.
Very beautiful occasion.
It was amazing. It was, and you know what? And it was a blessing that they invited us to attend.
Yeah, we felt very honored actually to be there. So, hats off to them. We love them. We respect them, care for them very deeply. So we just want to say, let's get that pen and paper ready for this love story that y'all about to start penning. So congratulations. And we love you. You could talk now.
See, I have to wait and no, because she just kind of goes off script, and I didn't know what she was going to say that. So.
I didn't know that. I couldn't. I'm sorry. It's Omaha. Called it Audible.
Okay, I'll take that. It's football season.
Yeah.
Look, but there's a topic. Have you ever heard of sunset clause?
Not until you told me about it. No.
Okay, so if anybody out there, if you've never heard of this sunset clause, write in. Let us know if you've ever heard of this. But there's a lot of notes because I had never heard of this.
Yeah, I didn't think it was real, but okay.
Basically, what it is, it's the sunset clause refers to a marriage expiration or renewal clause. It's a trend in some prenuptial and marital contracts that sets a fixed period, like 7 or 10 years, after which the marriage is revisited, almost like renegotiated, to determine, okay, do we still want to continue doing this? So it's almost like a renewal period. We talk about renewing vows. You know, after a certain amount of time, you renew your vows. It's a love thing. But this sunset clause is a completely different beast. This is after whatever, 5, 7, 10, whatever the time frame is, they decide, okay, now we're going to sit down at the negotiating table and decide, do we want to continue this? And then they part ways. It's different from a prenup or a prenuptial. It's odd. It's almost very contractual and very transactional.
So I don't know. It's almost sounded like it could be a sunset clause, could be something that's included in a prenup or something like that. But it is, I mean, for me, I guess there's two ways you could look at it. It's like, it's weird because like, okay, we're going to do this again in 5 years. And in 5 years, if I don't like what I see, I'm out. I mean, kind of like that.
It could be seen like that. Or what about the other side of the coin where the person's saying, okay, you know what? I have 5 to 7 years to truly impress my spouse to ensure that she or he re-ups.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
like almost like it's performative.
A lease option to buy.
That is an honest way of looking at it.
Honestly, you know, because when you lease a car, there's a down payment. And we'll just say the ring is a down payment or the wedding is the down payment. And then you make your monthly payment. And whatever they're doing, that could be the monthly investment. And then at the end of it, you either pay the rest of the money that's owed on the lease or you turn it in for something different, right? So that's kind of the same thing with this, except for it's not monetary. Oh, it could be monetary. I don't know. I guess it depends on what's in the clause.
Well, basically, I mean, when you boil it down, it's when you get back to the negotiating table, both parties have to decide that they want to renew. If one person says that they don't want to renew, then based on their agreement that they've penned initially, as long as it's written properly, if it's vague and ambiguous, then I think it's going to cause problems. But if they've gone letter to the law and figured out exactly what they want, if both parties don't agree, one says, yes, I like this, the other one says, nope, I don't like it, and they can't meet in the middle, then they just negates it. And then they, according to their state laws, they split everything.
So it's almost like a divorce contract before you get divorced. So the way it sounds is like you could write everything up about how we want the division of assets to be, blah, 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 blah. And on this day, we come back to the drawing table. And if I say, nope, I just want to take with whatever it is, then that's it. So, I mean, it can make divorce less messy if you already have everything set out for what you want.
But you know what? If you go to the whole concept of Stephen Covey, like Stephen Covey and what was it? The 7 habits of highly effective people. Mm-hmm. One of the principles was begin with the end in mind. It's almost like they're beginning with the divorce in mind.
But I'm like, the end in mind for me in marriage, the end is till death do us part, right?
Those are the vows we took.
That's me. That's my opinion.
And that's traditional. So are we getting away from non-traditional, or are things shifting? Listen, this is getting a lot of attention for its disruptive and thought-provoking approach to commitment and partnership. And I think that's the problem.
Stupid. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but I feel like
they're calling it a partnership, and it makes it sound like it's a very sterile business agreement. Let me give you some examples. All right, so I did some research, and according to mom.com, and this is this year, 2025, there was a title that said, "Marriage Contract with Weird and Controversial Terms Sparks Hate." And this article described a couple whose marriage contract included a renewal clause. Every 7 years, the marriage is up for renewal by mutual consent. If either chooses not to renew, the marriage dissolves. It's kind of like having a driver's license. After so much time, you have to renew it, right? So it's that driver's license style of marriage. And in the article, it almost made it sound as if this is an honest, if not unromantic, assessment of personal growth and change over time. So we've worked with couples that had challenges with one person grew more than the other, or one person stagnated, and there was some difficulty in the relationship kind of coming to terms with the fact that one person was on a particular track that was really growth oriented, whereas the other person wasn't. But they found a way to work it out. They figured it out. And this is saying that at whatever the time period may be, that if they're not happy with it, it gives them an out to say, you know what, I don't like the way that you grew, and it just isn't working for me, so I'm not going to renew the contract. And based on what you signed before, there's no argument, nothing. We just part ways and go about our business.
Yeah, I don't know. In my head, I'm trying to figure out how would that be any different from just one day out of the blue, I say, like on year 4 at our anniversary, I want a divorce.
I think the difference is that everything's already been pinned. So upon renewal, everybody already knows that on this particular date, it's like the milk carton in the refrigerator. There's an expiration date, and either I'm going to get in, bring in or if there was a way to magically renew the milk, or just throw it out because it expired. So you know exactly what the terms are going to be upon departure from each other, as opposed to you just wake up one day and say, you know what, like you did to me on year 4, and say, I no longer want to be married to you. I just want a divorce. And how do you divorce? Then it becomes messy, ugly, sticky, because now there's potentially an argument over, like you said, the division of assets. Now, what if a child's involved? What if you have a kid? I did read that some of these sunset clauses actually include a clause regarding children, that if a child is introduced, let's say the sunset clause is supposed to be renewed at 7 years, but at 4 years you have a child. It's an automatic renewal upon the birth of the child.
I don't know that for me it sounds very sterile, and this is just my opinion. It sounds very sterile in that well, obviously there's been a change to the situation, so any change that happens, everything has to be accounted for, so we need to renegotiate, blah blah blah. But it sounds sterile, but also on the daily, I feel like I would be so anxiety filled because I'm in this so when we got married, year 4 did happen, but on our wedding day, I wasn't thinking, in this many years, he may say, no, I don't want to be with you anymore. So, I mean, we went on and we lived our life. We grew as a couple. We had some setbacks. We had some children. Not during any time did I feel like our marriage or our relationship was based on performance or... I mean, yeah, we should have been growing, but if I don't do this, he may say he doesn't want to be with me or whatever. I feel like I would be so anxious about everything that I did. Am I pretty enough? I better not gain weight, because what if he doesn't want to be with me after this? Because I know that date is coming up. It's like I have to study for this big exam or I'm going to fail it. And you know how when some people are anxious about
Well,
studying.
no, I can see how that would cause anxiety. And actually, I guarantee that somebody out there listening is like, hey, this is a great idea.
Maybe, yeah.
But, well, let me play devil's advocate. Year 4, you asked for a divorce. What if I would have turned around and said, excuse me, this allergy season is killing me. What if I would have said, you know what? We're up for renewal in 3 years. Why don't we just let it ride and try and stick it out until, we're up for renewal. Otherwise, it could get a little ugly. So we've already written out what's going to happen. Let's just stick it out for 3 more years. Would that have worked?
No.
I'm just curious.
I mean, no, I don't think that would have. No, that would have worked for you?
No, not at all.
I mean, because if in the moment when I said there was a reason that I said I wanted a divorce, right? And then there was a reason why I stayed. If in my mind, well, we gonna get divorced anyway, so I'm not putting any effort into it. I'm not gonna. That's how I'm thinking now, 24 years after the fact. But
I don't know. Well, let me give you another example. Well, to your point, one of the examples that I found was in Legal Nature. There was an article and regarding the sunset clause, and it talked specifically about something you brought up previously, and that was that the agreement became null and void, right, after 7 years, and the marital assets were divided according to the default state laws. The article highlighted the fact that the importance of clearly defining the terms and conditions of such clauses, especially when it came to the separation or pending divorce on that particular expiration date, had to be clearly defined, meaning everything was, it's almost like you have lawyers at the very beginning. It's almost like you have it's a weird type of prenup. It's almost like the evolution of a prenuptial agreement.
so it's almost like that's for people who have money.
And that's a question I have. Is this just for the wealthy? Or is it something?
I mean, because when we got married, we was gonna split $150 or whatever.
It was a come up for me.
I mean, but seriously, after all when we got married,
Right.
we didn't have any money.
Had no assets.
No, we did not have any assets. I mean, they were assets. They were assets. I don't know, but it was hardly anything. So I don't know how that would benefit. But then again, I guess if we talk about setting something up like this, then that means that we would maybe have projected, okay, so in 5 years, if you have XYZ, then you get, we'll divide that. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it must be for rich people.
Yeah, it would have to be, because the challenge is that if it wasn't for, I can't see anybody that doesn't have assets doing anything like this.
Well, but then too, so why would there be? Well, I shouldn't say why would there be one of these if they already have a prenuptial agreement? Because in the prenup, I mean, you could put whatever you want to put in the prenup. I've heard about prenups with just some crazy stuff, but so I guess you won't have to wait for the whole marriage to dissolve organically if you have one of these.
But it's like, what's the whole purpose of getting married in the first place? I almost feel as if anybody that's doing these sunset clauses is not of the same mindset.
You want to get married,
They're doing it for legal purposes. They're doing it for tax. I don't know. But you're not doing the whole marrying you till, like you said, till death do we part.
So I don't know. I feel like I should challenge that mind frame, because a lot of people, I know people who actually do want to get married, but their mindset is, marriage is 50-50. So maybe having that type of mindset of, well, it's already a 50-50, well, might as well take advantage of this type of situation, a sunset clause.
But does it make you work harder during those, let's just call it 7 years. Does it make you work harder during those 7 years to make it work? Or do you enter it not taking it as serious because you know that potentially
Well,
the other person could say, that no matter how much you want it, the other person could just be like, I don't want it. So, I mean, are you going all in? This isn't that whole kind of like, look, our mindset when you get married it's that whole burn the boats mentality, right? If you take basically, let's say you download and you participate in the Married into Crazy app. There's an entire online curriculum called Raise the Bar that, depending upon the level you join, you actually have access to that. And it's part of the process, part of the program. And there's a segment on there called Burn the Boats. Mm-hmm. And when you burn the boats, that's the whole premise of once we land, there is no going back. We burn the boats. There's no way to just get in the boat and take off
go back.
and go back. Mm-hmm. This is it. We're going to make it work. That's
in.
A particular mindset. And I feel like the sunset clause is for a completely different type of mindset.
I feel like I agree. I agree with you on that. But some people may think that they're looking out for later on for the just in case. That's like the sunset clause is the emergency fund that you put up. I tell everybody, when my mom, when I was younger, she was like, you always make sure you have your own so that you make sure that you're protected. So for someone, this might be their protection. What if I'm in an abusive relationship and I know that, okay, in 5 years, I know I'm not finna re-up, but between now and then, I'm afraid to leave or something like that. At least I have an out where there's nothing that he could do. I'm gonna say there's nothing that he can do. And I say it could be a she that's crazy too, but
usually is.
Wow. Okay. But people do it, I guess, for very different reasons. But for myself, when you talk about does it make you work harder or not, if you're the person that's working harder, that's where when I was saying I would feel like I would be anxious because it doesn't matter. I feel like if you want out, you want out, right? Just like, okay, let's just talk about us. You thought that you were doing all the right stuff back in the day, right? Maybe at that time, maybe in hindsight, maybe you look at it now and like, I probably wasn't. But at the time, you didn't feel like you were doing anything wrong. Is that right?
True.
So, but in my mind, you wasn't doing the right stuff. So this would be something that year 7 or whatever, this comes up. I'm like, no, I want out because XYZ. You know what I'm saying?
No, I hear you, but I almost feel as if, and I know I'm biased. I know this up front. I'm really biased when it comes to this particular topic because to me, a sunset clause, and I really don't mean to
negate.
I don't mean to, what's the word I want to say? I don't want to insult anyone that truly believes in sunset clauses, but I think it lacks integrity.
It lacks integrity when it comes to what marriage stands for?
In my mind, my definition of marriage, the way that I perceive it, this negates and completely demolishes the integrity of the covenant of marriage because this whole concept of, we're going to renegotiate or I'm going to try, to live up to something. And if you don't, then okay, then we can just walk away from it. That accountability, like, look, when we talk about being crazy, being compassionate, real, accountable, zealous, and yielding, having a sunset clause negates almost 4 out of the 5. It negates being real because you're not looking at the reality of the situation and saying, okay, you know what? I want to take this for what it is and I want to learn and grow from it. It definitely takes the accountability out because how can you have accountability knowing that, in X amount of time, I can get out of this anyway. So why even be accountable? The zealousness is I don't have to be excited about it because I know that there's an expiration date. And there's definitely no need to be yielding at all simply because why would I? I mean, it depends on the personality types. I'm not saying that people aren't, crazy by our definition. Now, the compassion piece, I think, can remain, and it's not negated by this because you can still be compassionate. But those other components, I think, are endangered by a sunset clause.
So, but on the flip side, I'll be devil's advocate, I guess, it could make both people work just that much harder too, because I don't want this to end as much as you don't want this to end. So at all times, I'm bringing my A game. I'm not slacking. I'm not going to be taking you for granted. I'm not going to be, doing the things that I know that you don't like. I'm going to be performing basically at all times because I don't want this to end. And I don't want you to see this as a way out and like, oh, she's not who I thought she was. Or you may think, oh, I mean, for the other person, I want her to see me as the knight in shining armor. So I'm always going to be on 10. I'm rolling on dubs all the time so that we are always, you only see me in the light of which I want you to see me, because I don't want you to ever feel like I made a mistake. I don't want when the year comes up on the contract for you to be like, you know what? You gave it the old heave ho, but that's it.
But on the flip side of that, on the other side,
There's only two
I'll
sides.
always wonder. I would always, no, we're talking a triangle now. I'd always wonder, like, okay, is this really you, or is this the performative part? Are you performing just so that way?
So, but wouldn't you really already think this is really me when before we got married, because you asked me to marry you? So, and I know that when you live together, I mean, a whole lot of stuff comes out that you're like, oh shoot, I didn't know. I knew you like that, but I would hope that when people get married, your character does not change all that much to where you become this total different person that your spouse dreads, like, oh my God, I had no idea. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, if there was a plus to this, it would be for both parties to be working as hard as they possibly can to make sure that the other person continue to see them in the light that they are the greatest or whatever. And no, I don't want to leave. And, when we talk about re-upping or whatever, yeah, I want to continue on to this path that we're going.
So look, this is one of those podcasts where we're just introducing a topic. It's conversational. We have zero answers for you.
I mean,
But here's the thing. Does treating marriage like a contract with renewal periods encourage open communication, or does it commercialize and cheapen the institution itself? And do different generations view it differently?
Well, we're from the same generation, so.
I'm just saying, but
no.
do our daughters view it the same way?
That we view marriage?
Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, I'm just that their generation. Are there different, the Gen X versus Gen Z versus the millennials? Would they approach this, each of those groupings, approach this differently?
I think it really just depends on what they see, what they're introduced to it. Some people, like for our daughters, they see our marriage and that's the kind of marriage that they want. Someone else that comes from a different household, they may be like, oh, I don't want to do that because they're always together, or she does most of the cooking, or he's always doing this, blah, 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 whatever,
Right. I'm just saying, that's more I should say, it's more of a question for all of the listeners. Because I really want to hear this. Look, if we've ever asked you for feedback, I really want to hear your feedback now, whether it's going to be on social media, in the comments, under the clips that you might see regarding this, or if, or better yet, if you can go to wherever you're listening to the podcast and leave some comments. If you have the ability to leave comments, particularly like over at Apple Podcasts, chime in, or on YouTube, chime in and leave your thoughts about this topic. Are you doing this? Write into us. Email us at info@marriedintocrazy.com. If you have a sunset clause and it's working phenomenally for you, or you're thinking about it, write us and let us know why, or what, the pros and cons as you see it. I would love to get some other perspectives on this because it's a very interesting topic. And according to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different institutions, the question remains, is this going to go mainstream, or is this just kind of a niche experiment that's taking place? very curious. So, hey, again, more questions than answers, but hopefully we'll give you some food for thought, something to discuss at the dinner table, something around the fire in the backyard. If if you have like a little fire pit, if you're getting together with other couples, chop it up, bring this topic up. More importantly, tell them about the Married into Crazy podcast. Invite them to come back, listen to this particular episode to hear about the different angles, the topic itself, and to chime in as well. And if there's somebody that you think could benefit from this particular topic, share it with them as well. We invite everybody to subscribe, to share, and widen the audience at all times. That way we can have a robust conversation and really make this an amazing discussion, as well as all the other ones. And feel free to go back through the archives. There's so many different topics, so many different interviews, so many different subject matter experts that you could actually spend quite a few years, actually, because it goes all the way back to 2018 looking at. And letting everybody know that starting in September, we're going to be dialing back a little bit. Our little guy is requiring more and more of our attention. Sports, school, homework, those type things. In first grade, who knew? There's so much going on.
Who knew? Good
so
Lord.
We are going to honor that commitment to our grandson that we're raising and dial back the podcast to 2 a month as opposed to every week. And this is going to be a first since 2018. So it's been a long time that we've been putting one of these podcasts out every single week, but we're going to dial it back now to honor probably our greatest commitment. We always take raising our children very seriously, and he is our bonus child. So we're going to make sure that we honor that and that we don't put anything before him. So that's why we're going to be dialing back in September. We're not going anywhere. We're just going to kind of say, hey, you want more? There's an archive, but we will be here with new, fresh podcasts bi-weekly as opposed to every week. So until the next time,
Be blessed.
all right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. Please like, subscribe to, and review the show wherever you access it, and tell a friend about us. Visit marriedintocrazy.com and see how Snooks and Lovey can bless your marriage directly.